भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Chapter 14. The three modes of material nature. Text 1. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Param Bhuya Pravakshami Jnananam Jnana Amrut Jnananam Jnanam Uttamam Yajñatva Manah Sarve Param Siddhim Ito Gata.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Again I shall declare to you the supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection."
Text 2. Idam Jnanam Upashritya Mama Sadharmya Mam Agataha Sarge Api Nopajayante Pralaye Na Vyathanti Cha.
By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution.
Chittenne mokle yo ai moni benno. Iya. Aje phải tin.
Hare Krishna.
Think
If
that
everyone could mute themselves except for Krishnavani and Avani Devi. Thank you.
text 3. Mama yonir mahat brahma tasmin garva dadamyaham sambhavaha sarvabhutanam tato bhavati bharata.
The total material substance, called Brahman, is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata.
Text 4. Sarvayonishu konteya Sarvayonishu konteya murtaya sambhavanti yaha tasam brahma mahadyonir aham bija pradapita.
It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father.
Text 5. Sattvam rajas tama iti guna prakriti sambhavaha nibaddhanti mahabaho dehe dehinam avyayam.
Material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these modes.
Text 6. Tatra sattvam nirmalatvat prakashakam anamayam sukha sangena badnati gnana sangena chanaga.
O sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge.
Text 7. Rajoragatmakam veti tushna sanga samudgavam तन्निबध्नान्ति कौन्तेय कर्मसङ्गेन देहिनाम्.
The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti, and because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to material fruitive actions.
Text 8. Tamastva agnanajam vidhi mohanam sarvadehinam pramadalasya nidrabhis tannibadnati bharata.
O son of Bharata, know that the mode of darkness, born of ignorance, is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The results of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditional soul.
Nine. Tattvam sukhe sanjayati rajo karmani bharata jnanam avritya tu tamaha pramade sanjayati.
14.
O son of Bharata, the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness. Passion conditions one to fruitive action. And ignorance
Can't hear.
Avani, could you just check your connection?
Avni, is there any other devices around nearby?
That is why. That
Yeah.
is why.
So if you move or leave it, put a little bit far, then they won't like interrupt. Yeah. Shall I go through the translation? Or
Yeah, Krishna Vanamantaka, if you could carry on.
okay,
With-
translate.
Okay, and allow
Text 9 translation.
line.
O
Sorry.
son of Gandhara, the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion conditions one to action, and ignorance covering one's knowledge binds one to madness. Text 10. Rajastamascha vibhuya Sattvam bhavati bharata raja sattvam tamaschaiva tama sattvam rajastatha. Are you okay now, Avni?
Are you still there, Avani?
sometimes
Yeah.
the mode of I'm here.
Yeah. I think they're having some problem. Okay, let me
Avani,
read this till you sort it out. Yeah.
Avani,
Text
what you
10.
can do,
Some
if you want to take your video off so the speed increases on your device, and just have your audio on, Avani. That's it, yeah? Try it now with the voice.
Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharata, sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy.
text 11. Sarvadvareshu dehesmin prakasha upajayate jnanam yada tada vidyat vibruddhim sattvam iti uta.
The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge.
Text 12. लोभः प्रवृत्तिरारम्भ कर्मणानाम् अशाम स्पृहा रजस्येतानि जायन्ते विवृते भरतर्षभ.
O chief of the Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, fruitive activity, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering develop.
Text 13. Aprakasho apravrutischa pramado moha eva cha tasyetani jayante vivrude kurunandana.
When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested.
Text 14. Yada sattve pravute tu pralayam yati dehabhut tadotam vidam lokan amalan pratipadyate.
When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher planets of the great sages.
Text 15. Rajasi pralayam gatva karma sangishu jayate tatha pralinas tamasi muda yonishu jayate.
When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom.
Text 16. Karmanaha sukrutasyahu satvikam nirmalam phalam rajastu phalam dukham ajnanam tamasa phalam.
The result of pious action is pure and is said to be in the mode of goodness. But action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness.
17. Sattvat sanjayate jnanam rajaso lobha eva cha pramada moho tamaso bhavato ajnanameva cha.
From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, greed develops. And from the mode of ignorance, develop foolishness, madness, and illusion.
Text 18. Urdhvam gachanti sattvastha madhye tishthanti rajasa jaganna guna vruttistha adho gachanti tamasa.
Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets. And those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds.
पहले दुनिया की नजरों में मैं तुम्हारी दोस्त थी तो कम से कम एक दोस्ती का हक था लेकिन अब तो वो भी नहीं रहा काव्य अब तुम मेरी दोस्त नहीं गर्लफ्रेंड हो अब मैं तुम्हें घर नहीं ले जा सकता तो अगर मैं तुम्हारी गर्लफ्रेंड हूँ तो मुझे गर्लफ्रेंड की तरह ट्रीट करो ना
I think you have to
You
mute
mute yourself.
everyone. It's not going.
अब पढ़ो का आशीर्वाद ले लो
How do I? If you can carry on, Christopher, David.
Prabhuji, can you unmute everyone, please? Or mute everyone?
I'm trying.
First mute everyone, then we'll unmute.
Just a minute.
Yeah. Okay. Text 19. Nanyam gunebhya kartaram yada drushtanu pashyati गुणेभ्यश्च परं वेत्ति मद्भावं सो अधिगच्छति.
When one properly sees that in all activities to no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord, who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature.
Krishnavani, can you unmute yourself, please? Sent you a message.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And Avani, are you unmuted as well?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that, everyone.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Text 20. गुणान् एतान् अतीत्य त्रीन् देहि देहा समुद्भवान् जन्म मृत्यु जरा दुःखेर् विमुक्तो अमृतम् अश्नुते.
When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life.
Text 21. Arjuna Vacha Kailingas Trin Gunan Etan Atito Bhavati Prabho Kim Achara Katham Chaitams Tringunan Ativartate.
Arjuna inquired, O my dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior, and how does he transcend the modes of nature?
Text 22 to 25. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Prakasham cha pravrutim cha mohameva cha pandava na dvesti sampravruttani na nivruttani kamshati. Udasinno guneryo na vichalyate gunavartanta iti evam yo yo vatis yo evatisthati nengate samadukha sukha swastha sama lostasma kanchana tulya priya priyo dhiras tulya nindatma samsuti. Manayostulyas tulyo mitrari pakshayo sarvarambha parityagi gunatita sa uchyate.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present or long for them when they disappear, who was unwavering and and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal towards the desirable and the undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature.
Text 23. Mam chayo avabhicharena भक्तियोगेन सेवते सगुणान् समतीत्येतान् ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते.
One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman.
Text 27. Brahmano hi pratistaham amrutasya vyasya cha sasvatasya cha dharmasya sukha saikantikasya cha.
And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and internal, and is the constitutional position of all of ultimate happiness.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
Om Tat sorry.
you very much, Krishnavani.
Mm.
Dasi, and Avani.
Hare-
How old are you, Avani?
I am 10 years old.
Oh, very good. Really nicely reciting the English as well. Some of the words I can't even pronounce now. You know. So thank you. So the verse that we're reading today, chapter 14, verse 12, I believe. So I'll just recite this. Lobaha pravritti arambaha karma shamasriha rajasi tani jayante vivrite parata shaba. Translation: the chief of the Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, fruitive activity, intent endeavor, uncontrollable desire and hankering develop. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. One in the mode of passion is never satisfied with the position he has already acquired. He hankers to increase his position. If he wants to construct a residential house, he tries his best to have a palatial house. If he would be able to reside in that house eternally, and he develops a great hankering for sense gratification, there is no end to sense gratification. He always wants to remain with his family and in his house and to continue the process of sense gratification. There is no cessation of this. All these symptoms should be understood as characteristic of the mode of passion. So just recite the invocation prayers. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnana Shalakaya Yaksharamanakayena Tasme Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsya Shri Guru Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sadhana Raghunatam Vitam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sadhana Lalita Shivashakamitam Shah Shri Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Gopishwa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kantana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhana Sute Devi Vanamami Hari Priye Vanta Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Pachitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki. Just wanted to say thank you very much for allowing me to speak. The devotees were in charge of the chapter a day, Bhagavad Gita. Also seek prayers from Srila Prabhupada, my first master, to ask for the blessings so I can speak something on this particular verse, on this chapter, chapter 14, the three modes of material nature. And to all of you who are listening as well, please kindly bless me so I can speak a little bit. This pleasing to Srila Prabhupada. But this whole topic, this whole chapter is on the three modes of material nature. Three modes being the goodness, sattva guna, passion, rajaguna, and ignorance, tamas guna. And this material energy is actually covered by these three gunas, these three modes. The conditioned soul is actually pure by nature in its original constitutional position because it's part and parcel of Krishna. But on a minute level, it has all the qualities of Krishna himself. But because we are actually living in this material world, this whole material world has actually been covered by this material nature, which is the three modes. And to transcend this, we have to overcome these three modes. Even in the mode of goodness, there could be a level of personal benefit for ourselves rather than for higher level of purpose in our life, which is to serve Krishna with his pure goodness. So Krishna himself says in the Bhagavad Gita, Devi Guna Mayi Devi, this mature nature is very difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered can transcend beyond these three modes. And how do you transcend beyond these three modes? Well, Arjuna asked this particular question to Krishna himself. Which verse it was? Just check. Yep. So Arjuna inquired, my dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior? How does he transcend this modes of nature? And in the verse which Avani translated, that actually explains some of the ways you can transcend these three modes. But in this particular verse, we're talking about the mode of passion. The passion itself is a cause of destruction in our own personal life. You can see that passion, or the byproducts of passion, is anger, lust, and greed. What is the cause of anger? The cause of anger is lust itself. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead says, oh, Arjuna, it is lust alone which is in contact with the material mode of passion, which transforms into wrath, which is the old devouring sinful enemy of this world. So we understand from passion itself, it's the cause of anger, the cause of destruction in life itself. Passion is what causes lust. Lust is also something which can be not just necessarily a sexual desire, it could be a desire of something that you want in your life itself. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains about how we can be very, very passionate about something in our life. We want to create something which we can benefit for our purposes. Like in the example Prabhupada gives, we may want to create a beautiful home so we can live in there, live comfortably, live like a king, live in a way that we are not dependent on anybody else at all. But what is the symptoms of that? That desire to, I suppose, have the opportunity of everything you want in your own personal life is also the cause of greed. Greed is also one of the causes of our own destructions itself. So there's another verse in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains, what is the cause of lust itself. So Krishna says, whilst contemplating on the objects of the senses, one develops attachment for them. But that attachment comes from a mode of passion. From such attachment, lust develops. From lust, this bewilderment of the memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And what happens when intelligence is lost? One again falls down into this material pool. So it is very important to actually utilize that passion that we all have. We all have a desire to be very creative in our life. We have a passion to become very famous. We have a passion to become very wealthy, passion to desire to become recognized. But if we desire that passion and transform it in a way that we can serve Krishna, can serve his devotees, actually there's so much more benefit in your own personal life. And to overcome these three modes, by overcoming passion, what do we do to utilize that passion in a way which is Krishna conscious? We can see the example that Srila Prabhupada gave when he first started the Hare Krishna movement. There were so many Westerners who were very, very talented in different ways. They had a passion. Some had a passion to become cooks. Some had a passion to become artists. Some had a passion to be very good managers. But what it was, they didn't have the inclination or the direction to use it in a way that would be beneficial, not only to themselves, but to mankind. But Prabhupada was amazing. He did not force anybody to take up Krishna consciousness, but simply utilized everyone's talent in such a way they could actually see the benefit for themselves by pleasing Krishna. So, for instance, Yadurani, she became a very famous artist. And she painted pictures of Krishna, beautiful pictures of Krishna in the early ISKCON books of Krishna Lila and the Bhagavatam. You see the pictures and paintings there. She didn't know how to paint properly, but Prabhupada guided her. She used a passion for her interest in art to paint pictures of Krishna. Similarly, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, I mean, he was, very well qualified in management. He had a lot of passion in him as well. But what did Srila Prabhupada do? He directed his intelligence, his talent, his passion in a way that they could manage ISKCON in such a nice way. And many times, Tamal Krishna Goswami, who was one of the early disciples of Srila Prabhupada, would be Srila Prabhupada's right-hand man. Whenever there was a problem within ISKCON, if there was a lawsuit case or if there was an issue with getting permission for property or for land or any difficulties that you may have faced, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Prabhupada would actually send him personally to help manage the temple. In this way, many devotees had used their talent, a passionate way in Krishna consciousness as well. What it is, we have an inclination to always be energetic in our life. There's no, because we're part of Krishna, our nature is always to be constantly moving all the time. But there's no sort of rest or peace for us in a way. We always agitated in some way or another. So we have to direct that passion into a way which is actually transformed into love for Krishna itself. Um, So there are many other examples in the Vedic histories, in the Vedic culture, about how many devotees of Krishna were very passionate as well, but they used it for the benefit of serving Krishna himself. Later on, I'll speak to everyone to see if they could give me some examples. But in the meantime, there were also the demonic people who used their passion to completely destroy their own lives by being enemies of Krishna himself. One such example is Ravana. Through lust, through his passion, for his desire to lust over Sita Devi and have Sita Devi as his own wife, not realizing that this is the Supreme Personality of God's eternal consort, nobody could capture Lakshmi Devi. So, because of his desire, it was the cause of his destruction for wanting something which was not possible at all. Other examples can be like Kamsa. He was such a demonic person. In his passion, he just wanted to kill Vishnu. In his mind, he was always contemplating in ways how to kill Vishnu in different ways. And he sent demonic, all kinds of different types of demons, of all sorts of animals, shapes, humans, to kill Krishna and Vrindavan. But Krishna annihilated them. And ultimately, through his passion and desire to kill Krishna, he himself was annihilated. There are many other examples as well. But what I can do is just for a short while, if I can just open up and ask everybody to speak, if I know how to do this. Okay, if anybody can unmute themselves if they want to for now temporarily. I'm going to ask the devotees who are listening, is any devotees who've used their passion to serve Krishna or Ramachandra? Any examples at all?
Hanumanji.
That's very good. Was that Krishnandi? Was it your Krishnavani?
Yeah, Hanumanji used his anger to, like help Lord Rama by, like burning all the Ravana's kingdom and destroyed Ravana's properties and all these things.
That is very good. Yeah, thank you very much, Krishnamani. That was one of the example I was going to use too. Hanuman himself, when he came to rescue Sita Devi, he saw how Sita Devi was in such a distressed condition, and he just wanted to take Sita Devi herself straight away to Lord Ramachandra's lotus feet. But of course, there are particular reasons why he could not do that. And out of anger, out of his frustration, out of his passion to serve Lord Rama, he actually destroyed the whole of Lanka. But that passion could be used in a nice way that could actually transform one to become or use it for Krishna's purposes to allow us to be connected to Krishna himself. So is there any other examples anybody could give about devotees who've used their passion to serve Krishna? Okay, I'll give you some more examples. I'll just mute everybody just please. There's a
Hare,
oh sorry. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for a wonderful class. It's Divya Gorangi Devidasi.
Hare Krishna, Divya Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji, Lakshmanji, he used the anger, right, to cut the nose and ears of Surpankha when she came and she was speaking ill words about Sita Devi and wanting to marry Lord Ram. So in anger, Lakshmanji cuts her to show
Yeah,
her position.
yeah, that's true. That's very true. If you're going to TV, yeah, that's another good example. So a couple of more examples. Of course, there's numerous examples in the Bhagavatam we could read. One of the examples was Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj was only 5 years old, and because he was insulted by his stepmother, because he wanted to sit on the lap of his own father, the king, the stepmother sort of condemned Dhruva, saying that you're not fit to be sitting on the father's lap, the king, and that caused Dhruva Maharaj to be so angry, frustrated, and a passion. He had a desire to have a kingdom that was far greater than his own father himself. He could prove himself. Now, Dhruva Maharaj was only 5 years old, but when he came across Narada Muni instructed him, what are you doing? You shouldn't be doing this. You should just go and meditate on Lord Vishnu himself. And when Lord Vishnu eventually came to in front of Dhruva Maharaj, after many years of austerity, he actually realized that, well, there was no reason to have all this wonderful opulences that he desired. A kingdom far greater than his own father. Just 1 minute, I'll just close the window. It's my celebrations for New Year's Eve today. So that's another good example. Dhruva Maharaj used his passion. He was very passionate about, wanting a kingdom. But then when he saw Krishna, that passion transformed into love because he desired nothing else than to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are many other examples as well. What I was going to do, I was going to first of all also mention about the importance about passion. When you have passion, you have an endeavor. So there's a particular verse in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks very nicely. He mentions that always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, and bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So passion is a form of endeavor. We always need to progress ourselves in our lives, whether it's materially or spiritually. Materially, we're always wanting to become a better person in our day-to-day life, perhaps get a better job, get more finance, perhaps have more responsibilities at work. We normally have a development plan, how we actually progress into our career as well, to advance ourselves. But also at the same time, we utilize that same endeavor in serving Krishna. We could actually become a better person as well by utilizing that energy in a way that we can direct it to serving Krishna. Just as I mentioned, our Prabhupada engaged all his disciples at a young age to serve their talents in serving Krishna, their passion, their desire. So you can have that endeavor, serve Krishna. You can become a cook for Krishna. Use your endeavor, your passion to serve Krishna in different ways. Make clothing for Krishna. You can make garlands for Krishna. You can even preach. Many Sankirtan book distributors have so much desire, so much endeavor, so much spiritual passion about them, that they want to serve Krishna in a way that they want to distribute this love of Krishna to everyone. And Krishna, what does it say? There is no person more dear to me than he who glorifies my name. So in this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, as Krishna says, and a little advancement in this progress can dissipate the darkness of fear, or we have that phobic of fear. In this endeavor, there's no loss or diminution, little advancement in this path can, I forgot the last line of that verse, but basically can protect you from fear. But what is that fear that we always have in our life? You know, we have so many fears. We may be fearful of perhaps, you know, with the COVID, of course, which unfortunately is causing so much destruction to so many lives everywhere around the world. We have fear, phobic. Perhaps it could be people, it could be spiders, it could be anything. We always have fear. The greatest fear is obviously old age, birth, death, disease. And death is one of the things that we're always worried about. Even though we see everybody passing away during this COVID, we don't always take it seriously in our Christian consciousness. So we have to endeavor ourselves, use that passion to understand, oh dear, somebody has passed away. What can I do to prevent that? Not just talking about taking about precautions about COVID, but in the long term, what is the purpose of this person being born, living their life, getting married, having a house, getting a job, children? Then unfortunately, they die and pass away. So sometimes you have to use your intelligence to think even higher than the level that we normally anticipate by thinking what is beyond this death. And in this case, we're very fortunate because we have a lot of association with devotees who allow us to have that sadhu sangha to help progress in our spiritual lives in a way that's benefiting for all of us. So in this endeavor, the other point I was going to make as well, like when Yudhishthira Maharaj, when he's asked the question, what is the most amazing thing that you see? And Yudhishthira Maharaj says that, you know, all around you, you see people dying, but you never think that you're going to die one day. So Yudhishthira is also explaining in a way that we have to take our life very seriously in Krishna consciousness to become more connected to Krishna, have more faith, improve our sort of desire to serve him in different ways, whether it's chanting more rounds, reading more books of Krishna, doing more seva at the temple, having a home at having a temple in our home where we could perform deity worship, do regular puja in the morning, offering flower, offering whatever we cook for Krishna. In this way, we're always connected Krishna and Krishna's mind. You know, throughout the day, 24 hours a day. There's no sort of reason for us to sort of hanker for other desires that will allow the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance to overcome our desires from serving Krishna directly. Yesterday, Madhu Kumaran spoke so nicely about the story of King Puranjana, which you mentioned about the 9 gates within the body, the 2 eyes, 2 ears, the 2 nostrils, the mouth, the anus, and the genitals. But when your body is illuminated by using those senses in a Krishna conscious way, we mentioned that yesterday, if you use your eyes to see the deity, if you use your ears to listen about Krishna Katha or Krishna Kirtan, use our tongue to taste Krishna Prasadam or speak about Krishna Katha as well, our nose to smell flowers offered to Krishna and so forth. So when we utilize our senses in such a way, we illuminate the 9 gates within our body. But also there are 3 other gates that also are the destruction of one's life. The 3 gates to hell. I believe you're all can unmute yourself. You know what the 3 gates to hell are? Does anybody know?
Prabhuji, Kama, Krodh,
Lust, lust, greed, anger.
Yeah, very good. Anger, lust, and greed. Supreme Personality of Godhead said, anger, lust, and greed. These are the 3 gates leading to hell. And one must avoid them, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. So that anger, lust, and greed a byproduct of passion. When passion is not used in a way that is beneficial in our spiritual life, it causes the degradation of the soul. So therefore, we have to sort of sometimes have to look at somebody, like say in the case, we read the Bhagavatam, we read the Bhagavad Gita, we understand everything from it, but to put it into practice is another important thing in our day-to-day life as well. So one of the other important things is also understanding we are also conditioned souls, and as I mentioned earlier on, the spirit soul by nature is pure, but because of a desire from the moment we're born, we're within the mother's womb, we're suffering so much, and we're sort of forgetting about Krishna from our previous life, but we're saying, no, Krishna, please allow me to remember you in this lifetime. But as soon as we're born, as soon as we have something which is comfortable in our life, perhaps a nice place to live, a nice status, name, fame, recognition, then what happens? Our material desires become much stronger than our personal emotional feelings and understanding what our true nature, what our true responsibility is in this material world. But it's important as we come to an end for 2020, we've had a very, very sad year. We've lost so many wonderful devotees. My own spiritual master, His Holiness Bhakti Swami, lost Shrutidama Prabhu, we've lost Rameshwar Prabhu. We've lost so many wonderful devotees within the movement. And if you look at the qualities of those devotees, they were completely self-surrendered in serving Krishna. Never did they want any name, fame, adoration, any recognition. The desire was to serve and serve and serve. When I was fortunate to serve Shrutidama Prabhu, in the last couple of years, and it was so amazing. He never did he complain about his own personal life, his poor health, but he always found or tried to find a way how he could progress in his spiritual life, how others could progress in their spiritual life, constantly asking, oh, how is this Prabhuji? How is this family member? So this is the quality of a pure devotee. He's not always thinking about his own personal self, but he's also thinking for the benefit of others. So as we understand, it's been a very difficult year for all of us. And these kind of programs like Chapter a Day, it's really amazing because it allows us to connect in a Sangha in a way that allows us to avoid our mind being distracted in different ways. Many of you can be watching TV right now or been doing other things, but no, your intelligence decided what is better for you. You wanted to serve Krishna, hear about Krishna Katha. So it's not gone in vain at all. So for 2021, we have to start thinking about, well, what can I do in 2021 to improve my spiritual life? What can I do to transform my passion into a life which is more beneficial, only to me, my family, and to others as well? So maybe you can think about a way to increase your Krishna consciousness, chant more around, read more books regularly. The other day I was listening to the chapter day, and it was so nice to hear on the book distribution as well, that when you sort of phone devotees up or people, family, friends, or neighbors about the distribution of Bhagavad Gita, and one particular person, I can't remember the name, but it was their first time and they've never done book distribution at all. And they made phone calls within 20 minutes. They made 7 phone calls, and within those 7 phone calls, each person had a desire to sponsor sets of Bhagavad Gita. That's absolutely amazing. And what was that reason, that inclination? Because she wanted to use that passion, what she had learned from that lesson, to serve Krishna. And we can all do that in a certain way. We may not all be book distributors in our life. We may not always be the best cooks in our life, but we all have a particular talent, a desire. And if we use that passion in a way that is pleasing to Krishna, pleasing to the devotees, pleasing to Srila Prabhupada, you'll find that you will be much better. Just like Krishna says, perform your duty, your righteous duty. When you do that, you realize that, well, I can do this. Now let me see if I could learn some other sort of talents which I could use for Krishna service. So please do carry on with your daily sort of program every day. in a way that is, not just beneficial for yourself, but everybody around you, your family members and everyone else. I'm not sure exactly what time this program finishes, so I don't want to talk too much in case you will fall asleep. I hope you're not falling asleep. And if anybody wanted to ask a question, I'll try my best to answer any questions. Okay. I was going to say, one of the things I mentioned earlier on about the devotees, Srila Prabhupada engaged them in different activities of Krishna consciousness. It reminded me of another beautiful verse from the Bhagavad Gita. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, do that as an offering to me, O son of Kunti. So direct compassion in a way that neutralizes your desire for something which is personal. If you sort of mitigate that passion in a way that overcomes anger, lust, and greed, then surely Krishna, who is in the super soul within every living entities, will surely be affectionate to you in different ways. Okay, anything else? Anybody wanted to raise any points? Anybody wanted to mention?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Thank you for the wonderful class. It was very insightful. I was just thinking that, yes, the whole class was about mode of passion, but it was not centered around mode of passion devoid of Krishna consciousness. It was mode of passion, but passionate about Krishna consciousness. So when Krishna says in one of the verses, Devi hi Yesha, so where he's mentioning divine, this divine energy of mine. So
Yeah.
all three modes are coming from Krishna. So use the modes in service of Krishna. So that's
Yeah.
very important. So
Yeah.
that was very helpful.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shruti. That's a very good point.
Hare Krishna.
The divine energy of mind. But also at the same time, the three modes, the goodness, passion, and ignorance, it's a very, very minute particle energy of Krishna's energy itself. So it's divine energy is obviously unlimited in so many ways, and this minute energy, the material energy, is very small and insignificant, but unfortunately, it's significant to the conditioned souls which covers us. Thank you very much for that point. Yeah. Jyoti.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Okay, any other points anybody wanted to raise?
Krishna Govind Prabhu, we have a message here from Santosh Mataji suggesting, saying, Prabhuji, could you say a short prayer to welcome the new year, please?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think if I did say a prayer, I did mention some of the benefits of doing different kind of activities within Krishna consciousness for the new year to improve ourselves. And if there was any particular prayer, I would humbly ask, when Srila Prabhupada many years ago, he was actually started a business. And in that business, he was actually selling different kind of medications to the public itself. And there was one particular person who remembered that during Srila Prabhupada's early days, this is going back 1930s. And then he wanted to have a particular tonic from Srila Prabhupada's, from his chemist shop. And Prabhupada said, yeah, what do you like? I would like to have the tonic that you're drinking. And Srila Prabhupada said, what tonic is that? He said, well, you always seem to be illuminated. You always seem to be, like glowing. You've got this amazing ability to be very functional in your life. And then Prabhupada said, yes, the tonic I have for that is Pancha Kalpa Druvasha, no, beg your pardon, Trinadapi Sanechena, Taropi Saishuna, Manina Manajina Kirtaniya Sadari. So, in one way, I know it's been a very difficult year, but also importantly, we understand that by this particular verse, it's like a verse that we wear around our neck. We should imbibe it within us all the time Sometimes we can be very, very frustrated in our lives saying, well, why did this person pass away? Why did this happen to this person? What have they done, Krishna? Why did you take them away? But sometimes certain questions are beyond, our sort of intelligence itself. So we have to take that neutral stage that we just become humble and tolerant like a tree, humble like a blade of grass. It's not easy. I know every day we get the provoking situation, but one's greatness is shown by his ability to tolerate the provoking situation. And the other question is not able to take any sort of personal attention for himself, but rather direct it to the devotees or to his spiritual master. The verse is actually very important in our life. So that prayer, we should actually use it as a way to actually remember Krishna, his devotees, and a way to also try and make a successful year in our spiritual life this year. I know it's very difficult. We never know when death is around the corner, but certainly at the same time, death isn't around the corner. We could utilize that mind, our intelligence, our energy in a way that we can serve Krishna. Many opportunities are there at the moment. If you are able to, you can come to Bhaktivedanta Manor to serve Krishna in the Bhaktivedanta Manor or local temple near you. If you are not able to do that, at least you could go preaching. At the moment you may not be able to go door to door, but through phone contacts, you may be able to do some preaching, which I mentioned earlier on, like selling Bhagavad Gita's. It's actually for their benefits as well as your own benefit as well. And that's another important thing. Although you may give away Bhagavad Gita's and books, but this is important is to actually give that association to that person who's taken that book, give them guidance, spiritual guidance as well. Another prayer is also to take Krishna consciousness seriously in a way that we should actually be thinking, well, let me take my life seriously. Let me have a mentor. Let me have a spiritual master. Let me have somebody who can direct me to a way so I can overcome these difficulties in my material life. Surrender to Krishna, chant 16 rounds, follow the four regulated principles. It shouldn't be done as a matter of fashion. It should actually come from within your heart. And that was the beauty about Srila Prabhupada. He never forced anybody, but out of his kindness, he guided them. He mentored the young Americans who are, completely, they didn't know anything about Krishna consciousness. They didn't know anything about culture or moral or virtue at all. But Krishna, through the intelligence of Srila Prabhupada's instructions, he guided them so nicely. Yeah. I'm not sure if that was answering your prayer, Santosh, Ben, but probably a few insights. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. There are a couple of reflections. Go ahead, Mataji.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. That was very nice. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Santosh, Ben.
So we have Rasalila Mataji saying thank you for the wonderful class and enlightening and insightful class. Divya Karangi Mataji saying it was a wonderful class. Krishnamani Mataji is thanking very much Prabhuji for the wonderful class and yesterday's very melodious recitation by Shama Priya Mataji. Hare Krishna. Divya Karangi Mataji is thanking you for the very insightful prayer, Prabhuji. Thank you for the important reminder.
Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate being allowed to speak. And of course, we don't always have the ability to actually be able to actually, how do you call it, completely surrender ourselves 100%. But by the association of the devotees, we can actually advance ourselves day by day, taking the instructions more seriously in our life. When we see the situation which is going around the world, we're actually seeing how can we benefit this fallen human society in a way that will be beneficial for them in the long run itself. And the best way to give them is that love of Krishna Katha. Thank you, Divyanand Prabhu and Madhu Kumari for allowing me to speak as well. Please forgive me if I made any offenses. I haven't spoken for a long time, so it may have not been, how do you say it, Of course, you know, we always like to speak about Krishna, there's no doubt about it. But if there was something that anybody didn't understand, by all means, if they're happy to send me a message, I'll try and answer it.
Thank you, Krishna Govind Prabhu. Would like to thank you very much for giving us your association. It clearly is visible, felt, and experienced in your talk that one who speaks with realizations which comes through years of service in Krishna consciousness have certainly very deep and profound realization in his own life. And when he speaks, the audience certainly gets moved. So thank you so much for that wonderful session, Prabhu. Grateful that Madhu Kumari Mataji reached out to you in time and on a very short notice that you decided to be available to serve all the Vaishnavas here in this chat group. So thank you very much. I'd like to thank all the devotees today for joining us for chat, for chapter a day of Bhagavad Gita. The best thing you can do is to try and spread this vibration of Bhagavad Gita wide and far. So tell others about this wonderful opportunity they have to come together and recite a chapter of Bhagavad Gita. I will connect with you all tomorrow evening and we can discuss a few more ideas and thoughts I have in mind for the New Year's. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Krishna Govind Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you for your class.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you to Avani. She spoke so nicely. I was really.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.